To solve an equation by taking square roots, the first thing we want to do is isolate our variable. Our variable here is x squared. To isolate it, we're going to use our inverse operation. So here I have multiplication and addition happening on my x squared. So the first thing I'm going to move is my addition and do the inverse operation to get 6x squared equals 252. I want to get x squared by itself. Since it's being multiplied, I'm now going to divide both sides. To get x squared equals, that is 42. X squared equals 42. To get rid of the square, I now want to take the square root. When I take the square root, remember there is a positive or a negative value that can cause this to happen. And so I get x equals positive or negative square root of 42. We want to see if we can reduce the square root. So I'm going to look at what my factors of 42 are. I have 2 and 21. I have 3 and 7. All of these are unique. There are no pairs, so this square root does not simplify. This is my answer. To solve an equation by the quadratic formula, let's first write down a reminder of what the quadratic formula is. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I need it to be in standard form. It needs to be equal to 0 and in the form of x squared, x constant. If one of those is missing, that's okay. It just means its coefficient is 0. But it should be in the form of x squared, x constant, all equal to 0. Okay, and so our a is the value in front of x squared, the b is the value in front of x, and c is the constant on the end. So as I substitute in, be sure you're using parentheses. So I get negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over, notice big fraction bar goes under everything, 2a. So my b value is negative 3, so I plug in negative 3. B value is negative 3. 4ac. My a, if there's no coefficient here, that is a 1. 1. My c is negative 18. And my a again was 1. Negative negative 3 is positive 3. Plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared is 9. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 18 makes a positive. And 18 times 4, let's see, 32. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So that's plus 72. All over 2 times 1 is 2. I finish simplifying under my square root. I get the square root of 81 all over 2. The square root of 81 is 9. But I'm going to go ahead and split this into 2 equations now. Plus or minus means I have a solution that involves adding the square root, and I have a solution involving subtracting the square root. You must simplify both cases. So my first case is going to be 3 plus 9 over 2. And my second case will be 3 subtract 9 over 2. 3 plus 9 is 12. 12 over 2 is 6. 3 minus 9 is negative 6. Negative 6 over 2 is negative 3. There are my 2 solutions. Okay, on this one, my a is 1, my b is negative 8, my c is 5. So I have x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And as I go to substitute in, my b is -8. So again, these parentheses are powerful. Okay, my b again is -8. Sorry, a little technical difficulties, freezing. This will be -8. Here we go. This will be 1. C is +5. Down here, A is 1. So, -8 is +8, plus or minus the square root. -8 squared is 64. -4 times 1 times 5 is -20. All over 2. And so I get 8 plus or minus the square root of 44 over 2. We need to make sure we are simplifying any radicals when possible. We need to make sure we are simplifying any radicals when possible. So, I'm going to look at 44. And 44 is 11 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. I have a pair of factors, so one of those factors can come out, and one of them will go away, because the square root of 4 is just 2. The 11 will stay under the radical. So the square root of 44 is going to become 8 plus or minus, and a 2 comes out, because the square root of 4 is 2, and the 11 stays inside. So a 2 comes out, a 2 goes away, 11 stays inside the radical. I want you to notice all of these have a common factor. Their common factor is 2. So on the top, I'm going to factor out a 2. When I factor that out, 2 times 4 is 8. When I factor out a 2 from 8, I'm left with 4. The 2 is factored out. I'm bringing it out front. So I'm just left with square root of 11. All over 2. The 2 in the numerator and denominator cancel out. They are a pair of 1s. So they go away. And I'm left with 4 plus or minus the square root of 11. Since the square root of 11 cannot simplify, you may leave your answer in this form with plus or minus, because it cannot combine any further.